So it appears Walmart is having a bit of an issue as a man begins destroying all their Anheuser-Busch beer.
Bruh.
But honestly, this type of protest has become commonplace as employees have been forced to watch this behavior for years now. Now, I really didn't want to talk about this because this controversial figure has been very annoying to me, and I don't like it flooding my feed. But this is actually becoming a much bigger moment than people actually realize. It's like that Reddit Wall Street bet situations of thousands of Robinhood day traders with their stimulus checks and stuck inside all day when they realized that rich people were vulnerable on GameStop and AMC, and suddenly the little guy could have their voice be heard. And just like the Robinhood fiasco, Budlight and Anheuser-Busch are about to find out that wokeness and social justice don't pay the bills, and they're about to set the world record in the prosperity to poverty speedrun, any percent, subcategory F around and find out glitch. Now, to briefly go over their downfall, it started with some woke employee hiring a controversial figure to endorse their product while simultaneously insulting their target demographic.
I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports.
Now, their apology that looks like it's straight out of a Lifetime movie where the antagonist is some gaslighting unemployed husband named Anheuser-Busch, where they say, "We never intended to be in a discussion that divides people. America was founded on freedom and hard work. I'm focused on protecting that history and heritage, and moving forward, I will tirelessly bring great beers to the nation." And if that apology didn't trick middle America into buying our garbage cigarette water again, hey, look at this horse. We put our logo next to it. Those guys still ride horses, right? And this level of delusion kind of makes sense if you think about all those people going through liberal arts colleges, getting their master's degree, then making over six figures for years, and now they're completely detached from the blue-collar middle-class people that actually buy and consume your product. Of course they don't know how to relate to you. That's the equivalency of me growing up being a sports, anime, and video game guy, and somehow a company thinks that that qualifies me to be the brand manager of Taylor Swift if she gets caught into a controversy of mentioning one X in a song over the other X. Of course my attempt at relating to the girls that actually consume her music is going to be nonsensical to her core audience. Now, I'm not defending Anheuser-Busch here, I'm just saying that this may be the moment that woke corporations realize they don't get to be rich by default. They're not big pharma, no one is forcing people into buying their product. And when the consumer knows you're fleeing with your tail tucked between your legs, they will not let up, because what started as just Kid Rock blasting away cans of Bud Light has turned into country music star Brantley Gilbert smashing a can of Bud Light on stage to Cheers, and Riley Green replacing Bud Light with Coors Light on a song. Now, as much as Donald Trump Jr. wants to protect the millionaires,
but when you actually look into it, they'd be one of the more conservative-leaning companies in America. So they've been put on notice. I'm leaving them alone. I think you should probably do the same.
It hasn't stopped the regular blue-collar folk from flattening hundreds of cans, with this trend actually spreading across social media. And this is one of those honest messages, where Anheuser-Busch sees who genuinely is their primary consumer, blue-collar workers in middle America. Because not a single person that the Dylan Mulvaney advertisement actually spoke to knows how to drive, let alone name those vehicles. So if billion-dollar corporations essentially tell the consumer, "We don't care about your values," you're basically gift wrapping them the bricks that'll be thrown through your fancy little windows. Because everywhere is people showing how beer is still selling out, but Bud Light simply can't move. And this is seen all across the country, with some people even placing warnings that this is for exit use only. And this is the easiest type of activism ever. If average everyday Americans are sick of woke culture bleeding into every facet of their life, it's one thing when pro sports injects some wokeness into the NFL. If you played football all throughout high school, and now your son plays Pop Warner, and then he wants to go see an NFL game live, it's a tough scenario for your average guy. But Bud Light's competitor isn't Arena Bud Light. There's actually about a dozen indistinguishable brands that people can buy instead. This is the equivalency of McDonald's doing an ad saying, "I don't know why Asian people use chopsticks, I just thought they were too broke to buy forks." Now, me being the consumer of garbage food all the time, it wouldn't be too difficult to say, I'm going to boycott that one place when there's nearly 5 identical restaurants right next to them, especially when places like Team DeSantis are now advertising their own freedom-heavy beer. Which reminds me of when Hershey's went too woke, and then Daily Wire got together and made Jeremy's Chocolate.
And I love an international woman. But our friends over at Hershey's, They don't even know what a woman is. And it's the reason that I'm launching Jeremy's Chocolate. We have two kinds, she, her, and he, him. One of them's got nuts. If you need me to tell you which one it is, keep giving your money to Hershey's.
Where they sold never-before-tasted $7 chocolate bars on pre-order that won't be sent to you for over a month, but somehow sells 500,000 bars in days. Woke companies are starting to realize they're not Disney. The Anaheim Angels can get away with some woke stuff every now and then because they have a monopoly on Shohei Ohtani. You can fight me in the comment section on this, but I think it's a hard sell for me to tell my baseball-loving nephew we can't go watch the greatest athlete of all time to ever play the game in his prime play live, all because his boss's boss's boss, co-worker's subdivision wants to force some wokeness in their workplace. But Budlight is never going to be the Shohei Ohtani of beer. So no matter how much CNN and Howard Stern want to spin this story as if it's somehow good for marketing, they quickly realize they spurn their core demographic for some off-brand California politicians, DNC paid social media catfish, and the View's audience of stay-at-home women, as Whoopi Goldberg says America supports Budweiser, but also gives them a dire warning on what audience they need to bend the knee to, which is what this actually comes down to. If you went against the average conservative value, they still drink your cola and buy your tickets. But if you went against the new wave of liberal values, they non-stop shout you down and disrupt business until you're forced to bow down to their mob. But this is the moment that they overstep their bounds. They riled up a consumer base that knows they have the woke elite on their heels. They know if they let up, the corporation will learn insulting the consumer base means nothing, so will continue to do so. Which brings me to this post on Twitter asking should Bud Light be available in kids' libraries? Which is a perfect analogy to the entire woke movement. Everything has a time and a place, but fringe liberal ideals should be allowed to go wherever, whenever they want. Because if you even suggest, hey, maybe this very adult situation should only be for adults, no. You're a bigot for even suggesting that. So if you appreciate my lighthearted but critical take on what's really going on, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then check out my video on the rapper that opened the prank to prison pipeline.